Yo boys, back with another video. Today we're going to be doing Assassination Rogue, Necro Rogue, and we're playing the one-shot version, which is 100% crit with a Night Stalker basically, and all you're doing is you're trying to get trinkets every cooldown without using it, and then go for the one-shot. Now, playing with the Restless Shaman isn't the best. I would say playing with like a Disc Priest is probably the best, or anything else I can CC. With the Restless Shaman, you're not getting any like sync CC because of Hex's a huge cast, and also I don't have like a Shadow Dance to cheap shot or anything like that. So they end up sapping my Shaman here, which most likely means they're gonna open on my Shaman. So as you can see, he opens with a cheap shot, which is really bad if you're going for actual cooldowns, but I kind of knew he was gonna come to me, so pre I end up pre-fanning his kidney here. So anytime a rogue is coming near you, you know he's gonna kidney you, especially if he didn't kidney in the opener. So we end up pre-fanning his kidney, which means he's not really gonna try to target me. He doesn't really know what to do. Anytime off the so as soon as that kidney CR is off, or the CD is off, you know he's gonna kidney. So he pops off. I know he's gonna blind, so I pre-evasion here. So he actually ends up DR cheap shotting me, which is really good. So what right here, I think we're gonna end up. I ended up wanting to go priest because I feel like Outlaw Rogue just doesn't die. So I end up blinding and then kidneying, and we actually end up getting a solid amount of CDs here. So we end up getting trinket, we end up getting cloak, evasion, all that good stuff. So we still have our one shot ready. So in this situation, the rogue has nothing. Now the priest has PS and he also has dome, and he also has trinket. So he has a lot of cooldowns to counteract. Now sometimes you just have to full send it. So we end up. The reason I don't kidney there is obviously I don't have Shiv. So if I want to kill, really it's hard. It's really hard to kill somebody with Vendetta without Shiv. Shiv is the main thing that makes all your extra bleeds just do unhealable healing. Not gonna lie about that one. So we're just waiting. We're biting. I'm trying to get my guy to land a hex, but obviously he's getting pumped. So I end up just full sending it, and as you can see, he just dies before my guy can even think about PSing. He gets kicked, and then he just dies. So you're basically just popping off your kidney, shiving, one-shotting, and then vanishing, and then mark for death, E-Venom. And then I use the Necro spikes for the after my Venom for extra damage. So yeah, we end up getting a fresh W. Now in this game, I was kind of like debating on who I wanted to go. Because if I went the Rogue this isn't a really bad comp if you're playing the one shot. Because you're not getting that double CC that you usually need. So I end up trying to sap here. Still trying to get that sap off. Obviously he's in combat now, so I can't. We're gonna open here. Usually I know they're gonna kidney, so I end up pre-fanning here. Usually a lot of rogues will just kidney off, as soon as they got it, but they end up going my shaman here. He vendettas. Thankfully he's not running one shot. The really bad thing this rogue did is evasion on top of a vendetta, which is really bad. Because it's not like you're gonna 100-0 somebody with vendetta without being one shot. You can do a lot of consistent damage, but you're not gonna one shot him. I end up blinding here for trinket. We get trinket there, and we end up getting swap as well. So before he hexes, he pre-swaps. I could vendetta here off his cloak, but I kind of just don't because I was like, if I do it right here, there's a chance I can kill him, right? But if I don't kill him, then it's pretty GG. So at this moment, I could have trinket disarm instantly and then just done the full burst rotation. Probably killed him. The problem is it's Kenny DR on the rogue. So at this point, I'm trying to basically go the healer. Because if I go rogue and he somehow walls my damage, because he has wall in 2 seconds, he ends up pre-walling. So he walls, I'm not going to Kenny. He ends up double walling because he thought I was going to Kenny off DR, but obviously that didn't happen. And basically at this point, we're just kind of waiting for the walls to end, and then we're just going to Kenny. So he's running, and we also want to meta for him. He gets a really good hex, but obviously he gets the CP. And that form, once he has 4 stacks, he takes like no damage. It's literally like a perma wall. So if he just sits in form like the entire game, you're legit never gonna kill him. So I'm basically trying to just run after this guy, keep my bleeds on him, and then vendetta him out of form. Because if he's in form, then I'm not gonna kill. But as you can see, we just vendetta, vanish, and then easily kill him. Even on blind, it's just not even close. I really didn't even have to trinket. He was dead regardless without swap. DHs are really the DH played really good overall. I think the priest played decent as well, but not as good as the DH. DH like never trinketed the entire game. Even though he pop burst, I kidney him, I blind him, he still just would not trinket. And usually this build only usually works whenever you get trinket. because obviously whenever you're trying to get cooldowns, the one shot is every 2 minutes, which theoretically means they're gonna have their main defensives in 2 minutes, which means you have to bait out cooldowns like Trinket. Now, if he PSs is really good, they end up losing the game because they overlap. Now, I would only use cooldowns on Vendetta. It's the only time I can really kill anything. Now, if I was with a priest and he gave me like PI and he gave me like a bunch of other things, then yes, they'd probably have to drink it. But playing with the rest of the Sham, it's not that simple. He ends up getting a sapped here, which is not bad. Even though it wasn't on my stun, he probably should have saved it for my stun. So he ends up PSing himself and dardancing on nothing. It's not possible for me to kill him without Vendetta. It's just not gonna happen. So if you just trade on Vendetta and my one shot, you can counter it. Now, if you use stuff like the priest has nothing now, so all we need to do is keep our bleeds up, wait off DR, Kenny, Shiv, and then go for the one shot. So as you can see, we're re-bleeding him up here, keeping all of our blades. We Shiv him here, Kenny him off DR. He actually gets a pre-shield, and as you can see, it doesn't even matter. Even with the fat shield that he had, getting a really good pre-shield, which actually takes a lot of damage. It's kind of just overkill at that point. Now in this situation, my guy has no cooldowns and I only have evasion. So here you kind of have to play it smart. You never want to stack, especially versus DH. So I know he got the proc here, which means he's going to be doing a lot of damage for that amount of time. And as you can see, he does a lot of damage. And trust me, in Dragonflight, I already know DH is going to be pumping. I don't know if you guys have heard, but I'm basing this off of Snoopy's, tier list that he did. I checked it out when I woke up and it looked pretty solid. There was a lot of A tier classes. There was a bunch of specs that are playable in Dragonflight apparently. So I think DH was on the S tier list, which means they're going to be really insane. But I am still going to be playing sub in Dragon Flute because people or Snoopy says it's actually decent. So it's an A tier is what he said. So I assume it's good. So I actually have faced this mage quite a lot last season or just over this expansion. I have faced him a bunch. But here we want to go ret. Mages just have a hard time dying. Now, I could go mage, but the problem is if it's a good ret, he's just gonna be able to bot my Vendetta, and then he'll have block for my Vendetta, and then he'll have just a lot of things that'll just cancel out my Vendetta. He actually ends up pre-sacking a good pre-sack, except it wasn't that good because he's taking more damage from the Vital, and then also the Vital switching on him because we CC'd him. This guy rings into a sheep. I end up pre-cloaking so he can't hodge me right now. As you can see, we get a juicy Faliante. We end up pre-lining here, end up kicking the sheep. He ends up using his trinket, which is really bad because their goal right there was to hodge a shaman and do his, do some burst on him because he had bust. So he's probably gonna bust and use trinket for my shaman's trinket. In reality, if they get my shaman's trinket and they get another hodge, he's just gonna die. If these guys play it right, they can technically win. He actually has a really good WDB. He polys here. He ends up busting without a stun, which is the worst thing. So they end up double bursting everything they got on a non-stun, which is the worst thing. So I end up disarming, and then right off of his trinket, I'm going to instantly kill him. And now both of their bursts at the moment are just AFK. So that's where you do not want to click all your cooldowns. You need to stun. Even without the stun, he almost ends up killing me. So he ends up going through my HP twice. We end up having to swap here. I end up blinding the mage for block. I was gonna just one-shot the mage until I realized he still had bop. Because if I go one-shot the mage right now and he just bops it, I'm gonna have to go through 10 times the CCs or the CDs. So I always go ret usually, especially on versus mages. Mages are really hard to kill, especially when they know DPS. I mean, obviously if it's rogue mage, it's different. You can just go, mage and just, go through block then kill. But in this comp with all fields like they have, it's not fun. So here at this point, we've already gone through. We have to get bubble, so we pop bubble here. He ends up using his regen, which is actually not bad. He ends up fake casting me for a sheep. He ends up getting kicked on it. He ends up kicking me in my necro shield. And this is a little bit of damn, I'm not gonna lie, because he gets mini wings. I end up disarming him here. I end up using feint as well here soon. But as you can see, we end up shivving into our one shot. He actually almost survives. I end up trinketing this next sheep just to go for the one shot. At this point, there's no way he can survive with Shiv on him. With my full burst rotation, there's just no way. It's not going to happen. So they end up getting taken out like usual. And this game is the best game out of all of them, ladies and gentlemen. This is versus E-Pod. So this is my main mage. And obviously, I'm the best rogue in game, never lost a single game in my lifetime, and we instantaneously destroy. I'm talking about slap him on the forehead like a good boy. So we end up waiting here. The rogue ends up opening on my shaman, which is not a bad idea. The problem is the mage opened as well. So that what happens is now we get a solid opener, and that's not good for a rogue mage. So I end up sapping him, but he ends up vitaling him on the sap, so that's kind of bad, but it's whatever. So I'm basically just looking after the rogue here. The rogue comes out and he's trying to act like he can beat the X-Fake, but here we end up rupturing him because I end up coming, or actually no, we end up sapping him instead because I'm the best rogue in the game. I end up pre-cloaking because I know my mage is gonna DB. We end up pre-cloaking. We pre-cloak his kidney. He ends up sheeping. My guy lines the sheep. So their entire go was irrelevant right there. The mage busts on me, but like Gears best rogue in game doesn't get busted on by nobody. If you take it out, it is. But as you can see, we end up getting the rogue's trinket, which is the best case scenario because we have every cooldown. So at this point, we just kidney and win. He can't survive this. It's not going to be possible. I can just trinket sheep if that, and it's just over. And absolutely destroy Epod like Huge. Best rogue in game, hasn't lost a single game ever in his entire life. Obviously on the best rogue in game, he probably should have known that he should have just all AFK'd and he might have had a better chance at surviving. But obviously, best rogue in game, never lost a single day in his life. If you guys have heard that, then you've heard it again. He tries to fake cast me, not gonna happen. I'm a god among men like Huge. And anybody talking about the Polymorph video, listen, this rival has been going on for decades. You understand me, son? So guess what? We're toxic out here. You think this is a family-friendly channel? I don't get paid enough for this. You understand what I'm saying? I need more donations. You donate or your rivalry. You understand what I'm saying? If you donate, then we could be friends for that exact day. After that, or something. But have a good one. See you guys in the next video.